What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Packers Report. Happy Masters Sunday for all of those who celebrate. Wore my Sunday red, give Tiger a little homage on this fine day. You're watching the Packers Report. I'm Joey Petersen. I'm about to reveal my 8th mock draft of the NFL offseason. We are inching closer and closer to the 2025 NFL Draft, and I could not be more excited. If I needed to give you guys a reason to subscribe, this is the perfect one, okay? Mel Kiper, the draft guru for ESPN, he's done 4 total mock drafts the entirety of this offseason. By the time the NFL Draft runs, its course, and by the time we get there, we will have 10 or more mocks right here on the Packers Report. It's the best place to be if you want any draft coverage, any coverage of this team at all over the offseason. And if you do, make sure to lock us in right now by hitting that subscribe button. We're going to start this one off with a big draft day trade. The Green Bay Packers will be moving up from pick number 23 to pick number 19, swapping first-round picks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All of that for the price of a 7th rounder, number 237, which was the comp pick anyway. So, Joey, why did you move up? Well, let me tell you, there's an edge rusher that I do not want to miss. That is Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College with the number 19 overall selection. I really, really like this prospect. I think he brings a lot of promise to Green Bay, and we all know that edge rusher is one of the biggest needs in this team. That's why I think, you got to fill that need right there in round 1, especially when a prospect like him is available. 80 tackles in 2024, 21 tackles for loss, 16 and a half sacks, 60 pressures. It just keeps getting better and better for Donovan, and that's one of the things I love most about him, right? A lot of these guys, a lot of these edge rushers, the Shamar Stewarts of the world and people like him, even James Pierce Jr., Michael Williams, they have a lot of promise. They have a lot of athletic ability, a lot of traits, but they just don't have the production. Donovan Ezeiruaku, he does. Let's talk about the good when scouting him. He has disproportionately long arms. He's only about 6'2", but his wingspan is like 82 inches. He accelerates incredibly well around the arc and also has very, very impressive bend. And he's incredibly durable as well, even though he has a little bit of a thin frame. Started 36 straight games until he opted out of the bowl game in 2024. Unfortunately, he just has pretty much every prospect in this draft. He's not a perfect prospect, so let's talk a little bit about the bad as well. Below average height. Like I said, 6'2", not necessarily you want out of an edge rusher, especially in this scheme with Jeff Hafley. He has average speed. It's nothing great, nothing horrible. He kind of has trouble closing the gap in pursuit from time to time. And he doesn't necessarily have the power in his hands to move blockers with a bull rush. He has to be very technical when rushing the quarterback. He has to, rely on other pass moves, has to rely on his bend, can't really necessarily rely as much on that power. So I'll be honest, okay? Donovan necessarily isn't a perfect fit for this defense. And I've heard that a ton over this pre-draft process. But you know who are really good fits? Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, Kingsley Enagbare, and they have not done anything. So why not try something else? Because you're not going to know until you go outside the box, until you try something different. These guys are picture perfect fits with this system, and they can't get anything going. Enagbare and Devontae Wyatt combined had less than 50 pressures this last season. The 3 of them combined for like 16 sacks, 17 sacks. You need something different. Donovan Ezeiruaku gives you that something different. Grade the pick for me in the comment section down below. Give it an A, B, C, D, or F for this first round selection. I think it's a really good one. I would give it probably about an A, but that's what I love so much about this channel. I get to do it. You guys get to do it as well. Get down in the comment section and give me your grade. Pick number 2, round 2, number 54 overall. Give me Benjamin Morrison, cornerback out of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And he's a guy who only played 6 games this season. His season was cut short due to injury. But in those 6 games, he played very well. Let's call a spade a spade. If you look at the coverage stats, only allowed 12 completions, 125 yards, 0 touchdowns allowed, 4 pass breakups, no interceptions, but he also, allowed a quarterback rating of 58.4. And in my opinion, this all depends on Jaire Alexander. As this video is being recorded right now, Jaire Alexander is still on this team, and I imagine as of recent updates that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks, I think we're leaning more towards him being on this team. April 21st is going to tell you a lot. That's the first day they report next week, next Monday to be exact. And if he's there, then I think that nothing's going to happen. But if he's not, I would expect something to happen before the draft. And so, Benjamin Morrison at pick number 54 to clean up that cornerback position, I think would be a very great selection. And even if Jair Alexander is a Packer in 2025, we all know he's missed 10 games in the last 2 seasons, so you're probably going to need somebody in that depth position to step up and be a starter at some point. Let's talk about another guy who I believe can be a starter. That's Jalen Royals. My pick number 87 overall, third-round selection, wide receiver out of Utah State. Let me tell you real quickly what you get with a guy like Jalen Royals. He brings you track speed. He's incredibly fast. He's a vertical threat, which I think is what this offense needs exactly. Give you something different than you already have in that wide receiver. And that's what I love about him is he is a true X receiver. And you're not going to have Christian Watson for the good part of what? The first 3-4 months of this year, probably around 3 with that ACL tear late in January. He's not showing up for a good time. So get Royals in there. Play that Christian Watson role, be that X receiver, and I think he could, do a lot of damage in this offense. Jordan Love throwing in the football. A foot injury did end his season. Shortened it, I should say. However, the 4 games prior to that, 666 yards with 5 tuds. This guy is something special, and he's a guy that I believe if he would have, stayed injury-free through the entirety of this past season, he'd be a second-round pick. Maybe even a first if he continued to show off what he's capable of doing. And you look at the wide receiver room, something needs to change. You need a wide receiver 1 in that position. And that's why I think Jalen Royals could be that guy. This offense needs something. It needs a new wrinkle. It needs a wide receiver that Jordan Love can go to, that he can depend on in the biggest moments of these games. When you need a first down late, who are you going to trust? Do you trust any of those guys in that wide receiver room now? I don't know the answer to that question. I kind of go back and forth. So coming up, we got the 4 final selections of this draft. Make sure you guys stick around. I'll be going over all those very, very shortly. But before we get to that, make sure if you guys have not already, hit that big red button down below and subscribe. Okay, we give you daily Packers videos, breaking news coverage, all the latest news and rumors. And the best part about that all is it is 100% free. Does not cost you a dime. You get the world in return. We already got over 2,500 Packers fans. We're closing on 3,000 subscribers. So do me one big favor. Hit that sub button and join us today. Let's do another edge rusher, okay? How about Femi Oladejo, edge rusher out of UCLA? And this is a guy who his stock has risen a good bit over the last couple of weeks. Hear from Justin Mello on Femi. UCLA edge, Femi Oladejo, has seen his pre-draft stock explode since the conclusion of the 2024 season. That's how one scout put it in conversations. Oladejo has dominated the Senior Bowl and pre-draft circuit. It's within the realm of possibility that he's selected in the first round. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but if he falls to you in the 4th like he did in this mock draft, I'm selecting him and not thinking twice about it. Didn't have quite the same production as a guy like Donovan Ezeiruaku had. 57 tackles, that's good enough. 4.5 sacks, 33 pressures, 2 pass breakups, got those paws in the air. But what I want to look at is the PFF grades. And I get it. I know. I say this every single time. I'm going to continue to say it until I'm blue in the face. I know that PFF grades, they're not gospel. Okay? They're not the end-all, be-all. However, I think they're a good indicator when somebody like Femi kind of struggled in the production aspect. You can see how they were as just a straight-up pass rusher. And he was pretty good. 65.6 pass rush grade, a run defense grade of 78.6, much better run defender, which in this offense, in this defense, that's always something that's going to be coveted. His pass rush win rate was 10.6%, so that could be a little bit higher, but I think he's a guy that projects to be something special. You get him in the right scheme, you get him on the right team, you get him with the right defensive coordinator. In a few years, he could be this team's number 1 edge rusher. Let's go to round number 5, shall we? Give me Seth McLaughlin, center out of Ohio State University, the Ohio State University, pick number 159. I look at this offensive line depth chart right now, and I have confidence in this group. I truly do. But there's also a massive question mark, and that's at the center position. Elgton Jenkins making the switch from left guard to center after adding Aaron Banks. Josh Myers departs as well. And so I think that Green Bay just straight up needs an insurance policy at center. I have confidence in Jenkins and his abilities and what he might be able to do in the center and the cornerstone of this offensive line. But I also know that changing positions on the offensive line isn't necessarily the easiest thing to do. So I know that after a few weeks, Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, myself, everybody watching this video could be looking at that experiment and saying, okay, that didn't work. What's next? Seth gives you a guy who has started 24 of his last 24 games. Sure, he had a rough end to his stint in Alabama, but transferred in, did 1 year at Ohio State, and played phenomenally. I love that pick in the 5th round. Let's go to the 6th now. Give me Ty Robinson, defensive lineman, defensive tackle mainly, out of Nebraska, pick number 198. This is a guy, I'm not going to lie to you, I'd be pretty surprised if he's still there in the 6th round. He had 37 tackles, 7 sacks in 2024. What I love most about him is you see that 288 pounds and that 6'5" frame. He's a guy who is just an absolute monster, almost 300. He moves really well as well. He has an incredibly high motor. I think that anything that this defensive line needs outside of edge rush help, it's just depth on the inside of it. I know we're all pretty confident on the interior of this defensive line, but you're looking at a line that has a great starting rotation, has a great rotation of guys in the 1s and 2s, but after that, past that, it gets a little bit thin. So Ty Robinson, I think in a couple of years, he could really be a menace in this league, especially like I said with Femi Oladejo. If he gets in the right scheme, if he gets with the right team, he could really turn into something special. But he's got the size that you need and the size that you want on this defensive line. Call him out for me. Name a draft prospect that you think people are sleeping on. I'm going to give you one right after this, but you let me know in the comments section down below. Round 7 comes around. Give me Andrew Armstrong, wide receiver out of Arkansas with the final pick of the 2025 NFL Draft. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think this might be the steal of the draft. I think Andrew Armstrong has a really strong, no pun intended, future in the National Football League. You look at what he was able to do this past year at Arkansas, with the massive question mark that they had at quarterback for basically the entirety of the season, and he still put up 1,140 yards. Only found pay dirt one time, but still, that's kind of one of those things you're like, okay, that's probably scheme and not necessarily on him. He's so reliable, only had 4 drops the entirety of this last season, and I see this wide receiver room, and I look at the second strings. I think Dontavian Wicks and I think McCall Hardman, those are 2 guys I have a lot of trust in. Past them, Andrew Armstrong could fit right into this system. Andrew Armstrong, I think, is a guy who could turn into something really special in this league. If you just look at his film for 5 seconds, you'd be sitting there scratching your head wondering how this guy fell to the 7th round. Again, what he was able to do with the Hogs in that offense, I get it's Bobby Petrino led. It's run and gun. It's high speed. He took advantage of everything that came his way. He caught the ball when he needed to, and he made plays with his legs after the catch when he needed to as well. Make sure you guys do one thing for me. Subscribe before you get on out of here, because we're about to get on out of here as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching all the way. Really do appreciate every single one of you. We'll see you next time.